Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Racing with the Reverend. I am the Reverend Bogey, a real Reverendy guy. We are at Hockenheim today. I felt the call of Germany and I decided to come back. So we are at the Hockenheimring. This used to be a great Formula One track. It was even better at its original length, but because F1 and safety, they ruined it, cutting out probably one of the greatest sections of racetracks of all. We are going through turn one. We have whacked a guy in the back on accident. We are sorry about that, but we have moved up into 8th spot, and today we're running hard tires, which I usually don't like to do, but we're doing it today. So lots of whackings going on, as is typical for touring cars at the start. We've fallen back to 9th already after our start, where we passed several cars, so not a good start, but it's okay. It's, you know, another 30-minute race. We're going 16 laps today. This is the only corner I money shift on this game regularly, is that hairpin. I don't like that hairpin. It used to not exist in the old days, as I once again age myself. Because this game, you know, this track was just epic. This portion wasn't here either. This was an add-on. This is now rejoining where the old track used to rejoin, going into the original stadium section. We're going to pass Mushy Vessel here. Maybe. Nobody let off, and we missed our braking point. The guys let off, we missed our braking point, we screwed ourselves. Good job, Reverend Bogey. The Reverend was feeling very Christian there and decided not to hit anybody. We fell back to 19th. We just passed Thunder Crocs to go into 18th. Thunder Crocs is giving us the business. We give him the business back a little bit, and we get an 8/10 of a second for being off the track. You know, I was kind of forced into that. Again, penalty system doesn't understand the fact that you're being forced into something. So, not cool penalty system. Starting lap 2, going into turn 1, we cut the track again. And this time we get no penalty there. I try and push the limits on that corner as much as possible because the curbing really doesn't beat you over like it does in other games. So I try and cut that as much as I can. We've fallen back to 18th. Mona Fire is in front of us. We are pulling away from Freeman, or Freeman. I'm not a prisoner, I'm a free man. And so we're doing all right coming up into the hairpin. Bang, bang, bang. No money shift that time. A little understeer on braking, that's fine. We go around Power Groove. We're catching up the Clutch Cable, who now has 4 seconds in penalties. That's not good when you have only completed a lap and a half. We're starting to head into the stadium section now. We will pass Clutch Cable. I think we take that turn slower than a lot of people, but I don't care. This race we're in the Mercedes. That's where we wanted to go this time around. So, you know, German car, German track. You know, let's give it a wheel. Let's have some fun. And I've been going back into other cars as I drive the Honda a lot, as you've seen in my videos, and I drive the Veloster a lot, as you've seen in other videos. But even when I'm not recording, I do drive those 2 cars pretty exclusively. Okay, so we're catching up to Mona Fire in the Audi, and should get Mona either here in turn 1, but most likely in turn 2. We run a 154.715 while we're running around in traffic and taking stupid, silly track cutting stuff. But we're going to go up to turn 2 and see if we can't outbrake Mona Fire here. Doesn't look like it, so we're going to go outside, take the normal line. Mona Fire understeers because he or she is protecting. Mushy Vessel decides to slide all over the place, so we get that position anyway, and we're back to 15th. Slowly but surely climbing back up the ladder here on lap 3. Now we're heading to the hairpin. Monofire is not going to be able to do, and Monofire takes. And that wasn't even like an accidental takeout. That was a takeout. Monofire, that was not cool. And you should feel shame for that for the rest of your life. That was really not cool. And so to prove how uncool Monofire is, that person decides to go on the outside and outbrake him or herself, outbrake themselves. I don't know what you're supposed to do for kids. I'm old. But we're back in 16th after getting taken out, so we're going to start working our way back forward again, as is our want in these long races. We just keep working. Never, ever give up in a long race. Ever. You got to keep pressing on as Power Groove tries to goes into our back end. Thanks, Power Groove. We're going to try and leave you enough room here. Can you do it? Can you pass me without hitting me again? Nope, because we're pulling away from Power Groove as we end that lap. And that lap was a lot slower because we're dealing with a lot of traffic and debaggery. For the kids out there, we call that juice boxing. That came about because of, I know they're never going to see this, but my nephews call the kid a D-bag. It's a preschool where it was a preschool where my grandmother was at, and she let us know about it, and so we had to learn how to clean up our language for other kids. So we started calling D-bags juice boxes. I highly recommend using it. It's great, and most people will never understand what you're saying. So I use it a lot to describe people instead of using D-bags, unless I'm talking about the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are D-bags. So we're coming through the stadium section of the course again. We've lost a ton of time to Tyrone in front, and honestly, not something we're going to worry about. Checking the tires real quick because we want to see how long these are going to go. I'm hoping for a half and half because I'm not used to running hard tires. We're going to try and go around the outside of clutch cable here. That isn't going to happen. So we're going to go underneath. That's one. Jones went off the track there, so that puts us in 14th. We're going to try again on clutch cable coming out of the final turn. Clutch cable makes a mistake, goes out into the sand, and we'll have to use a sand wedge to get out. Hopefully he can save par. We're heading into turn 1 for lap 5. I'm feeling silly this morning. I haven't slept a whole lot the last 4 or 5 days, so the silliness meter is off the boards. As we head into turn 2, we outbrake ourselves and lose some time to Mushy Vessel again. This race has not gone well. We'll just be honest. It's not going well, but we're going to stick with it because that's what we do. Reverend Bogey does not rage quit unless it's really worth it. And that would be worth it, meaning that someone keeps wrecking me, keeps wrecking me on purpose, and I can't get away from them, so screw them. And I've had that happen a few times. I had a race, the day I recorded this, I had a race on that mall right before this where I had 4 guys take me out, and they weren't even, it wasn't even like, oh geez, that's an accident, oh geez, that's an accident. It was, we don't know our braking point, or we're going to use you as a brake, and we're going to kick you off the track. And we're going to take out the back end of your car and throw you off the track, which I find unacceptable. So now clutch cable, or So yeah, clutch cable went off the track, so now we get a free position up to 13th. Jones is 4 seconds behind. We are gaining on Mushy Vessel, and there is someone ahead of and close to Mushy Vessel, so maybe they can start battling, and we can start having a little fun working our way toward the top 10 as we close out lap 5. 153.789 isn't great, but we're dealing with a lot of traffic, and we're on hard tires. So hard tires are obviously going to be the slowest, but when you're dealing with a lot of traffic, it just makes things a lot worse. We're going to go into the 2, 3, 4 complex here. There's 2, or I'm sorry, maybe it's just 2. No, it is a 4. There's 3, and nope, now we're on the straightaway, so that's the 2-3 complex, and I'm just a juice box for mentioning it the other. But we're heading toward the hairpin turn 4. Again, none of this was part of the original Hockenheimring. The Hockenheimring used to be about a 4.5 mile lap, and it was not a safe track. I will give them that. It was not safe, but they could have done stuff to the forest section to make it safer. And obviously this was done for, fans and for safety. Now they don't even use the track for F1 anymore, which makes me sad, because the Hockenheimring is one of the better. It's still, even in this configuration, one of the better tracks in Europe, in my opinion. I think it's better than the Nürburgring GP course in some ways. In other ways, it's not so great. I don't like that last hairpin, for example, but it's a great passing zone. It's just really slow, and you have to really nail your braking point on that, because if you're too early, you're really slow, and obviously if you're too late, you're really good in the leader. You end up in the stuff. So, looks like pit stops have started. We are now in the top 10, and Mushy Vessel is in our wake. Still in the draft, but we hope to take care of that coming out of turn 2. Which used to be about a mile off the road. I wish they put the old Hockenheimring on these games, because you guys would just, I think you'd dig it. I think that it plays it makes the track obviously completely different, because the forest section is so fast. I mean, you just basically went straight and into a chicane, and then you came out of the chicane and you went fast, and you got to the other end of the forest, and you took like I want to say kind of a parabolica type turn. This track has been like this for 30 years, so it's hard for me to remember, or close to 30 years. Kind of a parabolica thing with a chicane at the end, and then you rocketed down the straightaway into another chicane, and then you came back on the track at this point. This is where you rejoined the stadium section. And then you finished your lap out. It was a fun track. It was really fast, but yes, it was dangerous. With the forest section, there were trees right up really close to the track, and I think they would have had to cut down a ton of trees to make the forest section safety compliant one, or they would have started to add chicanes, which nobody really wanted. They wanted to see guys go fast. And, there is a danger aspect to racing, and part of it is the speed. And kids, I will tell you, it's not speed that kills you, it's the sudden deceleration that gets you. Speed does not kill, but you shouldn't speed, so don't speed. Unless you know how to drive really well. Like, not in the game really well, like in real life. Learn how to control a car, have your parents teach you how to drive, and hopefully you have a sibling like I did that knows how to drive fast and knows car control, because he taught me a lot too. And I highly recommend learning how to do things. And I highly recommend learning how to drive on a stick. Do not learn how to drive on an automatic, because you will never be able to drive every single car you want. I think that's one of the best things my dad ever did, was to teach me how to drive with a stick shift. And you should always learn how to drive that way. You can drive whatever car you want after that. Back when I learned how to drive, manuals were the prevailing transmissions because automatics were really heavy and they didn't get the gas mileage that you could get in a stick. That obviously has changed. And also people have gotten lazy about learning how to drive. Be honest with yourself. As Torque BR is now 6th behind us, we're in the top 5 while I've been rambling. See, I get off topic and then these things happen. Obviously Torque has made a pit stop and is going to be on better tires than we. There was no need for that though. You can wait until you get into a proper passing zone. Torque. Can wait, be patient. But there's no such thing as patience on this game, so. Looks like Tyrone just got out of the pits. Domin Savio is now in the lead. Torque is on our inside. We are going to let him have this corner because we are on the slower tire. And we have flipped to minor. So 9 laps is pretty good. I was kind of hoping for 10. I think softs can go that long, but they're not going to go that long on this one. So, and we're going to lap the 13th place car. Thank you for playing our game. I don't know why. I don't know what is the whole. Oh, it's Meathead. See, I didn't even. Oh, wow, that guy just flew through the corner, and Torque blew his braking point, and Meathead just flew through for some reason. And we're still in the top 5. We still haven't made our pit stop yet, but we're going to real soon. This is going to be our pit lap. But guys slowed us down a little bit, so we're not going to have the great lap that we were kind of hoping to get. You can still, when the tires at the beginning of the minor wear, you can still pull off a fast lap. I've done it at Homestead and a couple other places where before I pit, I can still pull off a fast lap on semi-worn tires. But once you get through maybe 55%, you're going to start losing time. So Meathead is still behind. I thought that said Meth Head when we were racing, honestly. I'm so stupid. Meathead is behind us. We're heading into the pits, so Meathead's going to get a nice little pass and go outside. And see you later, Meathead. So we pit in 6th. Just want to say, if you are enjoying the video, please like it. Be nice if you liked it. Love it if you subscribed. But like is good. Subscribe. Hit the little bell. And comment down below if you want. But please keep the comments on topic and clean is all I ask. And nothing about what I have on my car. So we lose 3 positions coming out of the pits in 9th. We've gone to medium tires. Freeman is in the pits, or Freeman. I'm not a prisoner. I'm a free man. So we're going through now. Ronald 1010 Burrs is 22.5 seconds behind us, so I'm not too concerned about Ronald. Ironhide is 12.5 seconds ahead, so I think we're going to settle in here and just try and click off some fast laps. Obviously, this lap will not be fast, but you know, you've got to go somewhere. You've got to start somewhere. Medium tires will heat up pretty quick. We should start gaining on our lap time once we get to lap 11. Right now we're probably 20 seconds above where we would normally be. Laps, they just kind of tick off, especially when you're having fun. One of the things that I do miss is, you know, I look at everything on the screen. I'm constantly all over the place when I'm looking at everything. But it was nice to get that warning from the voice in the head in the game that said final lap. Just for it to be there. Or I wish it would show a flag at least. Show a white flag. Show a white flag somewhere. But these are things, again, that aren't going to get fixed because turn 10 has been decimated. Okay, so now we're starting lap 11. We're going to start clicking off some laps now. Ironhide is ahead of us by 12. We're pulling away from Ronald, who is not even close to us. We're just kind of on our own little island right now, just trying to, one, keep our rhythm, and two, click off some faster laps than what we've been running. So as we get to this time loop, we are a quarter second up, so that's good. That means by the end of the lap, we should be somewhere around maybe 7 or 8 tenths. I don't know. This game, you can never tell. We can brake a little later here now because we've got better grip, and we can still brake later still because that was a really slow entry, and it cost us time to Ironhide. Looks like Fusion or Fusion. I'm gonna call him Fusion because he's here. 53 seconds ahead. We're not worried about getting anywhere near first place. As I've kind of said before, I don't really care about winning. I care about having fun and seeing how many people I can get past. Especially when you end up getting dropped to 19th in the first couple laps because people just don't know how to drive. They're using you as a brake. They pitch you, whack you on the outside, they squeeze down on you when you're when you're inside of them, they squeeze down on you, even though you've got the position. Little things. Bilo's Law or Bilo's Slaw. Bilo's Law sounds better, is in the pits, so we're going to get to 8th before he gets out. Looks like someone went off the track there. That is not Ironhide, however, so we won't worry about that. That's just that's probably that car we've been lapping that's completely blown braking points and is trying to figure out how to drive a car, which you should learn how to do. Don't rely on others to have to drive you places. When you're of age, go out and learn how to drive. Driving is fun. I love to drive. I've driven, I wish I couldn't really count the miles that I've driven in my own cars and rentals, parents' cars, friends' cars. I've driven everything from a little tiny Geo Metro, a little Honda CRX, all the way up to a 24-foot rider. And I really just love to drive. I've owned lots of hot hatches and little tiny 2+2 trucks in my life. And I love those types of cars, but I've driven my best friend in college had a 71 Mustang, it was a 71 Mustang Mach 1, and that thing was so much fun to drive. Maybe it was a 75. As Ironhide has gone into the pits for his second stop, as we come around here for our end of lap 12, we're in the 152.1s now, and we're now in 7th place. We're going to try and get to Meathead, but I think Meathead will have enough and is also on soft tires because we're on lap 13 now, and soft tires is the way to go in this game. That thing was fun to drive, but it was a hunk and it handled like hell. If you're from San Diego, you will understand what the reference I'm about to make. As you're coming off of Interstate 8, leaving Grossmont Center, and you're heading into those S's at the Fletcher Parkway ramp, I almost spun this Mustang just going 65 miles an hour. I almost spun it in those S's because the handling was so bad on that car. We used to joke about how my best friend's car was really, really fast, and I said, that's all fine and dandy, but I will race you on any twisty bit in my little Geostorm GSI, and I'll kick the crap out of you. And it won't even be close, because my car may not be as fast, but it handles a hell of a lot better. And handling on the twisty bits is everything. As a license plate frame says that I own, anyone can go fast in a straight line. It's what you can do in the curves is what's important. Not to denigrate drag racers. Those guys and gals are just, they have tons of balls to go 350 miles an hour or 340 miles an hour in less than a quarter of a mile. I have the utmost respect for those guys and gals. They're amazing. But you people that are doing it in the streets, one, you shouldn't do it in the streets, and two, all you're doing is ruining your car. It's street car. Stop doing that. We just ran our fast lap on 13. It's 151.719. That's going to be our fast lap. We're hoping to try and keep up with Meathead, but I don't think that's going to happen. Bilo's Law is 15 and a half seconds behind, so I think we're settling in here for the long haul. Anyway, you kids, you should always learn to drive. Let's see. My very first car that I bought was a 1973 Dodge Dart Swinger. It had a 5.2 liter V8, and that thing was hell to drive after I moved to the next car. It was my first car, and I paid my money for it. I paid $700 to the guy that sold it. And yeah, it was heavy. Yeah, the suspension sucked. Yeah, it wasn't, I mean, it was quick. 5.2 liters, that's a 318 V8. And it had some kick, and I ran it into the ground. By the time I blew the engine on it, the automatic transmission had lost second gear when it was in automatic. So it would go straight from first to third, and it was only a 3-speed automatic. So it would go straight from first to third. So when it went into third, I had nothing. So I figured out a way, when I was in stops, that I would put the car, the little tree stalk, into first, and I'd take off. And once I took off, then when I got up to a certain point in the revs, which I couldn't see, I could only hear, because you had to listen to your cars back then. Once it got to a certain rev, I would lift my foot off the gas and kick the stalk into second, and it would act like an actual stick. So I would be, out. It would go into second. It would engage second, and by that time it engaged second, my foot would be back on the gas pedal. And then I would do the same thing and put it into drive for third gear, and it worked. And it would downshift fine. I could get it to kick down into second, but it wouldn't go into second from the start. But that car blew up. And it blew spectacularly. It blew so bad that I was shooting exhaust out my carburetor when I drove it. I had maybe 7 cylinders, maybe 6, and every time it hit one of the open ones, it would shoot exhaust out the carburetor. It was great. I tried to drive it like that for about a week, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm scaring the neighbors when I get home. I would have to shut off the engine before I got home from work and coast down the hill to my parking spot, which meant I had no power steering and no power brakes in a 4,000 plus pound car, because they were all steel back then too. So I got done with that, and for a couple weeks I drove my dad's Isuzu Impulse just for work. So he would get home from work, and I would drive his car to work. And then a couple weeks later, I bought and I was 21 then, I bought a 1990 Geostorm GSI in screaming yellow. And you should look that car up on Google because when you see it, you'll understand. One, it's a really good-looking car. It was a old 2+2 coupe. It was lightweight. This race is ending, so I have to end this story fast. It was lightweight. It was a 2+2 coupe. It had 130 horsepower in a 1.6-liter engine, which was really unheard of at the time. And it ran through a 5-speed manual. I learned how to do everything racing-wise as far as shifting and weight shifting and lift-off oversteer, which is a fun thing I'll explain in the next one. I did everything in that car, and I got 145,000 miles of it. I drove it across country twice. It was a great car. So we're heading into the last two corners on lap 16. We did settle into 7th. We lost a ton of time to Meathead because of his soft tires. And so we're going to finish here in 7th with Biles' Law being 14 and a half seconds behind. So a solid run. 7th place is fine. We weren't even close in the fast lap category. I wasn't expecting it because of all those guys that went on softs.
Great race.
So 7th place is cool. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you have anything to say, and we'll see you on the next episode of Racing with